You can't measure exactly what God's going to do. So many times people want to just put the measurement on, we could just give them the money but there's just so many other things that take place. I think that's part of one of the stories is just, and it's kind of a generic thing, is just how many relationships were made, genuine relationships, people loving on people, regardless of race, regardless of region, regardless of, economic things, just people just connecting with people and praying for them and loving them and believing in them.
Welcome to Stories I Didn't Tell Last Sunday. I'm Doug McAllister. Joining me today, Pastor Ken, who just got back from Argentina. He led a go trip down to visit Pastor Luis Padilla, who is joining us via Zoom. Man, don't you love technology, Padilla? It's pretty sweet, man. There you are. You're what, 3 hours ahead of us? Louisiana.
3 hours ahead of you.
Yeah. So what city are you in today? Where are you?
We are in our home here in Salta, Argentina, northwest Argentina.
You're in Salta, and you're 3 hours ahead of Louisiana time.
Yeah, so the world hasn't ended yet. I would have told you about it.
Good. We got 3 more hours to go at least. We know, huh?
But if you could give us the lottery numbers.
Yeah, go and look online. Tell us what's going on, man. Yeah, and tell us who's going to win this. Who's going to win the
World Cup?
Yeah, the World Cup. Give us some World Cup predictions.
Man, if I had that, I don't think I'd be in the Zoom right now.
Hey, Argentina's looking good, man. You guys may go all the way, huh?
We're favored to win it all, man. I know some parts of the world are pretty mad at us, but we're favored to win it all.
When's the last time you guys won it all?
1986. So we lost 4 finals after that.
It's been a long time.
Or two finals, sorry.
Man. And you're wearing your soccer colors. Is that the Argentine colors?
Yeah. This is.
And I'm wearing black. This is my mourning colors because LSU was kicked out of the playoffs, so I'm in mourning today.
Oh man!
So I got my hat on though.
Did Arkansas beat them?
Everybody beat them. Yeah, the local high school beat them last weekend. It's been a really bad ending to our season. Hey, we had an unexpected run though. No one thought we was going to finish in the top 10. So it was, considering how bad it could have been. Brian Kelly's first year was, good. He'll get 10 wins if he wins the bowl game. Yeah. But dude, I know you guys are excited about the World Cup, man. You guys are playing. Who's your next game with?
We played the Netherlands this Friday.
Woo, the Netherlands, boy.
Yeah. So that's going to be pretty fierce.
Yeah, it is. Who all's left on your bracket? Who's possibly going to be?
Well, I know Brazil plays today.
Yeah.
Off the top of my head. And then I can't remember the other ones, PD. I can look it up real quick.
Who are they playing? Who's Brazil playing today?
I think they play Korea, huh? Or Japan?
Korea,
right?
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, Korea.
So you guys could possibly face Brazil in the semifinals then.
Yeah, we will first have to beat the Netherlands, and then Brazil has to beat either Croatia or Japan.
Yeah.
If they beat Korea, and then we will have to play the big semifinal class. The big Southern American Classic is what is known.
Dude, that may be a civil war, huh?
Yeah, man. It's pretty bad.
There may be bloodshed involved. Yeah.
If just for this Friday, for a quarterfinal game, the country shut down.
Yeah,
I can't think what that semifinal is going to be like. They probably get the whole weekend off at least.
The whole continent's going to be off, man.
Yeah.
It'll be Rio party across the country. Yeah. Well, man, we just are so excited to be able to see your face. We talk about you all the time. We pray for you every day. Miss Rachel and I kick off our morning every day by praying for you and Lourdes, and we're so proud of the work that you're doing in Argentina, all the churches that you're planting, and you have a new assignment with your missions work. What's your assignment right now called?
We're church planners here for the most part in the north. We're working directly with the National AG office.
Yeah,
and we're kind of in charge of the Northwest region. And thank you, Pastor. And so we work directly also with the National Department of Church Planting.
Yeah. Did you ever get your vehicle? I know the Louisiana Network raised some money for you. You got that all done? Yeah. People ask me every Sunday. People are worried about your truck, man. So did you get your truck? Tell everybody you got your truck, right?
Yeah. I got the truck finally.
Woohoo! Now you're a real country boy. You got a pickup in Argentina. Yeah. You're a cowboy.
What are
they called?
I am, man.
What are cowboys called in Argentina? What's the word? What's the cowboy word? Is it Gaucho?
And, Gaucho, yep.
Yeah, there it is.
Gaucho.
I know you told me that when I was there last time. You were the Gaucho in the city, man. So you got a pickup truck.
Yeah.
What did you buy?
We got our truck. We got a Ford Ranger. So thanks to the Louisiana Network, all the youth leaders in Louisiana, Pastor Andy too, and everything you guys gave, man. We're just blown away. Wish we could have had it. Wish we could have had the truck at the same time we got the offering, but after 4 months, man, after 4 months of actually purchasing the vehicle.
Did you have to walk? I mean, how'd you get around without a truck?
Walk, bicycle, taxi, bus.
Man.
Ubers.
Yeah, Ubers, a lot of Ubers.
Yeah, a lot of people at Journey were worried about you. How are you getting around? I said, I think he's on a bicycle. I'm not sure. Yeah.
Yeah, so it was interesting, but that's part of the living in a third world country, man. And Argentina is doing pretty bad right now financially. So what they do is they get your money and they use it, they play with it, and they tell you they don't have your car. That's really what happens.
So they hold on to it like for 4 months, though. It took 4 months to get your
4
truck?
months.
Wow.
4 months in, and whenever I asked what was the delay, it was delays in the fabrication and factorization, whatever that means.
Wow, that's fancy for. I'm not telling you.
Yeah.
We don't want you to know where your truck is. Yeah. So, what color is your truck? You gotta send us a picture where we can show everybody.
Okay, I can send one to Cade right now. But there's a Ford Ranger.
Yeah. What color did you buy?
And charcoal gray, which is an interesting story behind it too, because on our first term, I also had a Ford Ranger charcoal. And this time, what they were giving me was a white one. I bought a white truck. Yeah. But then the delay kept going. So one of the agents said, "Hey, listen, we have one ready to go for you, which is charcoal gray. Do you mind if we change the color?" I said, "Man, give it to me yellow, orange, purple. I could care less.
I'll take gray."
And it just so happened as the same exact color of what I had before. So that's pretty nice, man. Love the truck, man.
Yeah.
It's a nice truck. We rode in it.
Oh, you
times.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Nice. Did you drive it from Salta all the way to meet at the airport with Ken and the group? You brought
no, we drove it from
Buenos Aires, right?
Oh, you picked it up.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, because when we purchased it in Buenos Aires, we were living there in Buenos Aires, thinking that within 2 months, because we lived there 2 months, I said, man, within 2 months we'll have the vehicle. We'll drive it up north. Right. Now 4 months later, nothing, man. And so I was like, man, I just got to move north to, trying to send Kate the pictures here, but
Salta.
And so to Salta, and so we finally drove it up here. 24-hour trip, man. So we stopped 10 hours, and then the next day drove the rest of the way. Yeah. So, but it's just a beautiful truck. And then whenever Pastor Ken and the team came, I drove to Tucumán, which from my house is a good 3.5 hours. Yeah. So we drove it there, left it there, and then went to pick them up in Buenos Aires when we came here.
Yeah.
How many did we fit in that truck, PK?
Oh, it was like a clown car. We just kept keep putting them in. Every car, even our Ubers, it was like, hey, how many can we put in? And then they told us, you can't have this many.
Yeah.
So, no.
When we went to the fishing trip up to the dam that day, we had a truckload. Me, you, and Cade, and there was like 9 people with us in your truck.
Yeah.
Cab was full. The back of the truck was full.
Yeah, that's what we did.
Yeah, it was like, it was a full house.
You won't believe this, but the very first church we started, we had a team that came from Buenos Aires, teenagers, and they do street evangelism. And we fit in, no joke aside, PK, we fit in 18 to 24 people in that truck, man.
That's crazy.
Cow.
Yeah.
They were laying on top of each other and everything. It was like, yeah, we're in the mission field.
Yeah, this is an outreach, man. Yeah. How many churches have you planted now, Luis? I know you go back.
5. Not enough. My answer would be not enough, but we've done 5.
5. What year did you start planting in Argentina?
2013.
13. So you planted 5 churches. Tell us about it. Give us an update on the 5. I know we all love Mario, and I know he's going to be with Jesus now, but he's carrying on. Just give us an update on where those 5 churches are, and then we're going to get to the latest one when Pastor Kim was down there.
Definitely. Well, first of all, thank you, Pastor Doug, Pastor Ken. Thanks for the invitation and allowing me to be here with you guys. Makes me want to cry, man, because you guys are my pastors and my family. And on top of that, my best friends. So just thank you guys for always holding the banner of Christ and inviting me to this. Just don't feel worthy, but just thankful for the privilege. So thank you for the invitation.
Hey, before you get into it, how's Lourdes and David? Are they good?
They're doing really good.
Oh, David's here?
Yeah, David is in.
I didn't know he was here. All right, who's he with?
He's in Arkansas.
He's in paradise, man. He's in the mountain.
Yeah, we have our home there, so he connected really good. The Lord's using him a lot, thankfully, with youth ministry there. Yeah. So he got invited to a youth convention.
Nice.
So he went over there, but he's doing really good.
Yeah.
And he'll be with us, right, in Slidell to pick up his brother, right? And then they're gonna come see you guys for Christmas. Is that...
he actually went already.
Oh no,
he went, but he didn't stay the weekend. Yeah, he didn't stay the weekend. Okay. He went for a couple of days. Okay. So he went to say hi to his brother and my mom and them, but he had to go back for ministry in Arkansas. He just left Friday, I believe.
Oh, okay. Did he drive back or flew?
No, he flew. My mom purchased a plane ticket. Right. So, but he's doing good. Adrian's doing good as well, and then Lourdes is really well also. So,
is she with you today?
Doing good.
Is she home?
She's with me. Yeah.
Tell her we love her. We miss her.
I will.
Yeah.
Thank you. She's terrified of cameras and speaking like this, but she sends her greetings definitely.
Good. Did you guys get a house yet? Are you in a home? Or
yeah. This is my office here, which of course you got to have a bed in your office for nap time.
I call that laying before the Lord, man. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is our home, thankfully here in Salta. So we're renting.
Is it close to where you live when I was there with you in 2016?
No, it's on the other point of the city.
Oh, is that right? Yeah, that was a nice house we stayed in. He had a beautiful home.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I'm glad you finally got a place to live for your family. I knew you guys were like in an apartment for 6 months or something?
No, 2 months. 2 months.
Right. Yeah, a long time. Yeah.
We were waiting for the whole truck situation, and then we had to, of course, move to a house. So we just left that there, and then came to move the family to a better place. So even our dog, man, our poor dog, Argentine dog from 2013, he's still here with us, man. So
how's he doing, man?
I think he's mad at me.
He's mad?
No. Yeah, I think he's mad at me.
Why? What'd you do?
Well, he's from Argentina, and then, of course, 3 years later, we went to live in the States. Yeah. And I guess he thought, man, I'm getting out of Latin America to live a life in the States.
He was thinking, I'm on the best thing, man. Living over in New Orleans.
Yeah. And then when we brought him when we brought him back here, I think he just kept looking at me like, dude, I can't believe you're doing this to me, man.
Why are you bringing me back, man? You had me in the U.S. Yeah.
I was living the life, man. So anyway,
What kind of passport does a dog need to travel?
Don't really. It's mainly a shot records. If you put in the shot records and everything, they give them paperwork and stuff to travel. So
you had to kennel him in the plane, or was he?
Yeah. You had to. Thankfully, this time we were able to put him with us in the plane, and the ride here was terrible, man.
Really?
It was bad. So I felt bad. We had to do an emergency stop in Peru in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
So 300 and some passengers had to onboard a plane.
Wow.
Spend half a day in Peru because we had an airplane malfunction.
Yikes.
And then in the evening, catch the flight again. So it was, I feel bad for the guy, our dog.
The detour in the deep plane is a lot better than the alternative of
crashing.
Yeah. We're all in the ocean.
Yeah. You're right. But the reason behind it was because there was a bathroom malfunction.
Oh, what?
No. Yeah. I think somebody ate a little too much. I think
somebody ate a big dinner.
Yeah, and I had my suspicion of probably who it was.
We had no idea who it was.
One of our teenagers.
We don't know who caused that problem there. Right. Give us an update, man, on Mario, his wife, and his boys, and tell us what's going on with the church. Everything's good?
Yeah. Everything is good. So to answer your question, we've planted 7 churches.
7.
But 2 of them had to close due to the pandemic, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But the other 5, by the grace of God, they're still doing good. Our first church plant, it's about to be 9 this year.
Wow.
Their 9th anniversary. So they're doing really good. They have their own building now, and everything. The pastors are doing great. Discipling is their strong suit. Then after that, we planted Mario's Church right around when you came, Pastor Doug. And we were with them last night, and they're going to celebrate their 7th anniversary right now in January. So I'm going to be preaching that one. So hopefully you guys can zoom in or whatever.
We'd love to. Who's the pastor there now that Mario's with Jesus?
His wife, Adriana.
Look at Adriana.
Mm-hmm.
She's the one that won the whole family to Christ, huh?
She won the whole family to Christ, man. They're very strong testimony.
Give us like a 2-minute version of that story of how Mario was involved in some pretty bad things, and his wife prayed him out of darkness.
So Mario was known as a kingpin here in Salta, addicted to drugs since his teenage years. His family hated him for always leaving the family without money and stuff. Yeah. And then eventually his kids, just started to head in that same direction. Yeah. And then their mother, Adriana, started to attend the church. And at this church, she gets saved, and she starts to hear about the power of the gospel that can free people from everything. And she begins to believe God, man, believes to believe God for a deliverance and her husband. But he starts to get mad at her that she's going to church. She begins to think that she's unfaithful to him with the pastor.
Yeah.
I don't know, some crazy reason, Right. So she begins to pray, and then they begin to argue. And then he will get so drunk that he will go home. And because she kept going to church, he would beat her to nearly death.
Wow.
Beat her until one day she decided to defend herself, because he would leave her unconscious. Yeah. In the bathroom, and the kids would see all of that. And anyway, it's just a crazy situation. So one day she decides to defend herself. She grabs a knife, and when he's about to punch her, she sticks the knife in his forearm.
Yeah. Yeah. So, there you go, girl.
Yeah. Wow. So Pastor Mario had a huge scar, man, in his forearm. It had to be at least, 16 inches, 14 inches. Wow. It's crazy. And that's, they had to save his life through there. Long story short, she kept believing God. Years kept going, and she started to bring Mario's clothes with her to church and leave it on the seats of the church.
I love
so she would separate all her children's clothing and her husband, and she would put it next to her chairs until, man, prayer and preaching does the trick, and Mario gives his life to Jesus and gets radically saved, gets called to the ministry. And then right when he begins to feel a call to plant a church is when we show up in the picture, and we were just able to become a good team. Then Pastor Doug and Kate came down here when all of that was going down, and they spoke with Pastor Doug and felt really good about planting the church, and the church was birthed. So that was our second church plant. So it has a very strong testimony. And of course, 2 years ago for the pandemic, Mario gets sick with the virus, and in 3 days he dies.
Wow.
So the family just decided, hey, listen, God saved us for a reason. He didn't save us to be bench warmers. We're gonna finish the work that started. So they're all of them are pastoring the church.
Man, thanks for the update with Adriana and the boys and the church, and the other churches are doing great too. The other 4, everything's cool.
Yeah, well, the other 2 are in a province about 2.5 hours from me, from Salta, the province of Jujuy, and one of them had to, 2 of them had to shut down. So we had 3 there.
Yeah.
Man, when we started them, and they just couldn't survive the pandemic, unfortunately. So we plan on reopening them.
Good.
At least, we have a team. And then, of course, you guys helped us plant also Buenos Aires with Rodrigo and Belén, where Pastor Ken and the team came and visited. So, that church is doing really well. Really well.
That's Pastor Rodrigo
and Belén.
Because we help support I think we help pay their salary. What did Journey do to help with them?
You guys paid their salary and the church's rent for a full year. So extremely thankful for that. I think that would have been another church had it not been for Journey. Yeah. That probably would have been another church that wouldn't have survived the pandemic.
Right. And it's healthy and growing now?
Yes, very healthy, and it's growing a lot. So just excited about the plans that we have with them.
Yeah, and our latest church is in Tucumán. Pastor Ken just came back. Ken, you want to jump in here because Ken led the outreach down there. He took a group from Journey to Argentina.
Right, there were 7 of us that obviously Pastor Tanya, Pastor Andy from the staff, and then myself, and then 4 folks from the congregation. Obviously, we all went there. I think it was November 11th or 12th or something like that, and stayed for about 8 days. And yeah, it was a great time. We stopped off in Buenos Aires. That's where we flew into, and we got to be with Pastor Rodrigo and Berlin. So, which was really great because they got a great ministry. Yeah. And kind of refresh my memory. They serve in an area. There's an area around them. Is it called the warehouse district or the warehouse area?
Yeah, or just a warehouse, something like that.
Yeah. So what it is because poverty is just so big in Argentina, homeless people take over abandoned warehouses. So factories shut down, and so homeless people move into these abandoned factories, and they make they make homes out of these factories. And so Pastor Ken and the team went and started visiting in there, huh?
Yeah, you go in these little alleyways. I mean, they're barely, I don't know if 2 people could stand side by side in most of these little alleyways. And there would just be doorways cut in, curtains hanging, no doors, but just curtains into people's, where they were living. They're usually just one room kind of facilities. And yeah, the poverty obviously is staggering, and high crime rate, drug addiction, abuse, rapes. Like I said, there's no doors. There's just like a curtain or a blanket hanging that is the doorway into these places.
Is that the place you guys did the outreach, the street outreach?
Yeah.
The first pictures y'all sent?
Yeah. Man. Yeah. And that was the first time we did that outreach there, which, by the way, if it wasn't for Rodrigo and Belen, the pastors, we wouldn't have been able to get in there. Because nobody gets in there because of the amount of drugs and crime that goes through. Not even the cops get in there.
Really?
So, but the church has such a strong witness there because it serves people and helps the kids out that they let us in, really. But they don't let anybody just walk in there and take pictures and stuff. It's pretty dangerous.
How far is Rodrigo's church from the warehouse area?
Oh, it's in the warehouse district.
In there,
but about 3 blocks away from where we met. But they're right there.
That particular spot, but a corner from the church, we have another district, which I don't think he wanted to take you guys there because it would be too risky.
Really?
Yeah.
Stupid gringos probably carrying cash on them.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So he did good. He brought you to a location where it's a little bit more traffic and people can see you and stuff. So. Yeah. But again, had it not been for the church's witness there, they wouldn't have let us in. So just excited, man. The ministry that they have and how they serve people, really love people. That's what probably impacts me the most, that they really, truly love people.
Yeah, they really do. Yeah, and it was a great time. And we of course, we went for about a half hour, 45 minutes, just in and out of all those little alleyways, telling people we were going to have a meeting. And then they had came out, set up all the music instruments, and they did worship, shared a few testimonies. Then we got to preach, and then I don't know. We gave stuff away. I think we gave some stuff away. Was it groceries or nail polish?
Yeah, nail polish stuff.
Yeah. Made balloon animals and all those type of things.
That's okay with being surrounded by kids.
Did you use the costumes you brought with you?
Oh yeah, we used not there. We didn't use the costumes there, but we did when we went to
later on.
Yeah. No, it was a great outreach, and just like Louis said, they really do love those people. Man. They just care for them, and you can't say enough good stuff about Rodrigo and Berlin. Yeah.
Well, they have never done. There has never been an outreach in that area done by any church that we know of for the past 20 years.
Wow.
Yeah. So. God bless them.
How far is Tucumán away from the warehouse church?
A plane ride.
A long way.
Yeah.
So you guys,
2 hours away flying.
Outreach a day or two?
No, we were just there for that day, Saturday, and then on Sunday, there were 3 of us pastors, and we all split up and preached at 2 different churches on Sunday, one in the morning and one in the evening.
Oh wow! So y'all covered 6 churches that day then.
Yeah.
What did you preach at?
I preached. I forget the first church. It was an older church, very well established. He used to be the not the presbyter, the superintendent
Yeah, the national superintendent for 30 years in Argentina.
Yeah.
Nice, man.
Yeah. And so really good church, the pastor, a godly man. He had a stroke not too long ago.
He had just had a stroke. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Wow. So he was a little bit, moving a little bit slowly, but kind of coming out of it. So praise God. And so I was there in the morning, but then I was at Rodriguez Church in the evening. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and then we had some good empanadas afterwards. But
yeah. and rain. It rained like crazy. That day,
oh my gosh. Yeah, it rained like Louisiana rain.
Oh,
streets were flooded, and it was rain.
Yeah.
So the team was serving in different places, and then we all gathered at Rodriguez Church at the end, so we can grab Ubers back to our hotels.
Fun. I love outreaches, bro, because you got all the ministry going on. Everybody comes together and you catch up with what's happening, and then you eat some good food and pray together. It's such a team building effort.
Yeah. And then on Monday, we flew out to Tucumán and got there just in time to be with they held a week-long tent ministry revival crusade. And on the land, and we should probably talk about the land that we were able to help purchase for that church plant. Yeah.
All that story is really kind of what I wanted to share today, PD, if it's okay.
Absolutely.
Because I think we have to kind of know the backstory of things, so better appreciate their significance, I guess. But just that whole story of the land, the whole story of how that church plant came to be. It's just a God thing, man. It just has God written all over it. Because when Pastor Ken and I spoke about the trip to Argentina this year in the summer in Louisiana, I was thinking, yes, I know that the AG here, the national AG, has big emphasis in the north of Argentina and is focusing on Tucumán because Tucumán is kind of like the center of all the north, if it makes any sense. Mm-hmm. And so they want to start there and from there launch upwards north, right? And so I kind of knew that the idea was Tucumán, but then you begin to think, okay, I don't have anybody there. How are we going to do this possible? Just pray. You just begin to pray. And then there was this pastor who's known in the country for evangelism. And the guy his name is Pastor Alberto Ferrando. And the guy held, listen to this, PD, he held 1,000 nights of crusade. Or in other words, 1,000 nights of evangelism, to where for 1,000 nights without missing a beat, he was every night preaching outside with the church. So he had services outside for three years. Yeah, just insane. So due to all of that, and hundreds and thousands of people that came to Christ, missionary body says, hey, listen, let's partner with this guy and let's go and open a church in Tucumán. So we did that. But beginning in August, we started to look for a location where we could plant a church with Pastor Alberto in Tucumán. But we visited over 28 different sites and locations, and none of them open. I mean, it was just like we had a location secured, and then last minute, it didn't happen. So we were just I was starting to get frustrated. Like, okay, God, I know you said Tucumán, but what's going on? In the middle of that, the presbyter of Tucumán reaches out to me. He said, hey, listen, I know that you are going to work in this area. Just want to let you know, I don't want anything in return. I just want to offer you our service, our people. We're here to serve you, to see the kingdom come. Yeah. He invited me over to a weekend. I went to preach in his church. And whenever I went to preach there, God spoke to me. And I guess that's the word I wanted to share today. Because for me, plan A was to go with what we see the organization doing. That was plan A. My plan B was to go with the people the presbyter had offered. And just being frustrated with things and not really falling into place. This word came to my heart. It just really felt like God said, sometimes your plan B is my plan A. And that's exactly what happened. Because whenever we started talking with the presbyter and his people, we noticed that there was a lady in the area that had been praying for a church for over 10 years. So her mother dedicated to evangelism on this little town known as Los Vallistas. And she started praying for this particular land at a corner for 10 years. Then the lady passed away 2 years ago. But she kept praying for this particular land at a corner of an intersection, of an important intersection in that town. And then she dies, but she leaves behind children that she has won to the Lord. And she leaves behind her daughter to become in charge of the church. Her name is Veronica. And then whenever I come with the plan of open churches and nothing is happening, they say, hey, listen, we have a team ready. We have kids ministry, and we're praying for this land. And whenever she says we're praying for this land, I said, I got to talk to Pastor Kent. Because land here is expensive. Yeah. And that land there was very, very cheap. Wow. And whenever we spoke with Pastor Ken, and then it was just kind of how everything happened, a few thousands of dollars. We were able to, I say a few thousand, but compared to what's, in other places, in other locations here in Argentina, to buy, land, you're talking about millions of dollars in places that nobody would ever invest. But by God's grace, man, you guys' journey just really helped us to accomplish people's dreams. But more than that, because I think sometimes we just think, we're going on a mission trip. We don't understand just how many answers prayers we are just by simply leaving the comfort of our home and reaching out, and just how many dreams were accomplished in those days, which is phenomenal, man. So I'll send Kate some pictures. I don't know if he can share it of the land there.
Hey, Luis, can I interrupt you just for a second and kind of tell a little bit about that story? So we were talking about this whole process of going up to Tucumán and who we were going to be with, and the plan A and the plan B, and has anything materialized each and other way. And Luis was sharing me the story about this piece of land. And we were just, it's just you don't know what's going on. And we were mentioning it. I said, so how much is the land? He goes, I think she wants like $10,000, but I think we can get it for like 6 or 8. And then I said, okay, we can pray about that. And then so I bring it to my crew, the 7 of us that are going, and I said, hey, here's what's going on. We don't know exactly where we're going to be, but this is what Pastor Luis thinks is happening. And this little church is trying to buy this piece of land. And somebody said, well, how much is the land? I said, I don't know, it's like $6,000 or something like that. And we just had our meeting. We were doing our weekly meetings. And so the next day I get a call from one of the ladies that was going on the trip, Mrs. Jacqueline Wall. And she says, Pastor Ken, I want to buy that land. I said, what? She goes, yeah, I want to raise some money. I want to buy that land for $6,000. And I was like, okay, hold on a minute. Wow. Let me find out exactly how much the price is. Cause I'm just going, we don't really know how much. If she wants 10, we're thinking maybe we can talk her down. I said, I don't know exactly how much it is. She goes, well, I've already got a plan. I've already reached out to people, whatever they donate, I'll match, and those type of things. And anyway, through it all, she raised about $4,200 of it, almost half of the money just between her and like 3 or 4 donors. Wow. And then Journey partnered and said, hey, we'll give a certain amount. And then you had a little bit, and together, and the owner wanted $10,000. She wasn't coming off that number. She was not coming off that number. But again, man, it was a God thing, right? It was a God thing. And the whole, we didn't know what we were going to go expect, maybe just preach at some tent meetings. And in the end, we ended up able to help purchase a piece of land where God can establish a church permanently, right?
In that permanently. City. Yes. Yeah. It's theirs now.
So the tent crusade took place on the land that we bought?
Yes, sir.
Wow, that was just an act
of
God.
The same land the lady had been praying for, the pastor's mother had been praying for 10 years.
Oh, yeah. Power of prayer, man. Yeah. Power of prayer. 10 years of prayer.
Faithfulness. Yeah.
So how did that crusade? Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
How did that crusade go? Y'all went every night at the crusade?
Yeah. So we got there, I think it was Monday night, and and Pastor Luis, we got there just in time for Pastor Luis to go up on stage and preach.
Wow.
But services started late. They started at 8:00, 8:30. It's Latin American time. It's around that time, and and so you get done. You do a lot of ministry, praying for praying for sick, praying for healings, praying for deliverance, all those type of things.
So was the meeting well attended? You had a good crowd at the tent?
Yes. We had about 100 people the first night,
Nice.
And then we maxed it out the last night. We ended up at, I think, 220 or 240 with 60 something new believers, and 22 of them got baptized last night.
God.
Wow, that's
beautiful,
awesome.
man.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And was it Thursday night? Was it a kids' crusade, which I did?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, it's kind of
Wednesday.
Wasn't Andy preaching at that crusade? That looked like a pretty powerful night.
Yeah. Andy preached, and my son David translated, so it was awesome to see both of them there.
Man, that's so great, bro. Great, man. The West Bank is producing some men of God, bro.
Amen.
David Padilla and Andy Ricketts, man, both hail from the West Bank. It's beautiful, bro.
Both came from our campus in Belchase.
Yeah, so beautiful, man.
Incredible, man.
So proud of what Andy did and what you guys are doing. So the church is meeting on Sunday now?
They're meeting on Sunday. I don't know if you can share some pictures there of last night. So this is the second Sunday there, and they're having about. She said, the people that are coming, there are a few of them, but they're faithful and they're true to this house. All the people that have gotten saved were already living someplace else and have their own churches, other places. So it's fine, but I know for a fact we have a good team that's beginning to build, and so they're having church, man, on the land. The Journey purchased. They're having church there every.
Are they still in the tent?
Sunday night and Wednesday night.
Are they still in the tent?
No, just with chairs. We also helped to purchase the chairs.
Okay, but they have a building on the land or what?
No, on the dirt. They're having church on the dirt.
Outside of the dirt. Wow.
On the dirt. Yeah, it's a picture there if you could see it.
Okay, yeah, definitely. There we go.
Yeah. But anyway, so they're meeting outdoors, man, on the dirt. Yeah. But just today she was telling me that that's another thing. See, what I'm trying to tell you is we just don't understand how many dreams can God use us to accomplish because of what she did, of them being faithful there in the area, the pastors there, they got ordained this Saturday night. So the pastor recognized, the presbyter, their pastor recognized, hey, listen, you guys, you are ready to go. A team came from the States and they opened a church. You guys are ready to be released. Let's just have you guys ordained. And they were ordained this past Saturday night, man. So it's just beautiful.
Who's the senior pastor there?
Oscar and Veronica.
Yeah. And who was that prayer warrior that prayed 10 years? What's her name?
I don't know her name, but it was Veronica's mother.
Wow. Man.
Pastor's mom.
Every great move of God is born in prayer, right?
Yes, absolutely.
A woman prayed 10 years, man. That's the grace of Jesus, bro.
Amen.
Grace of Jesus.
So that became our sixth church plant, thanks to you guys.
Number 6, man.
Number six.
We got 994 to go. To get to 1,000. Yeah, we're so proud of you. Pastor Ken's got a lot of stories. I want to tell a couple of them, man. Some of the good stuff that you guys saw and the miracles and the salvations. You want to tell a couple stories?
Yeah. Well, I think one of the things that kind of just as kind of a overview of the trip was we were just excited to be back doing missions trips, because of COVID and all the different things, the things that you had to do to get into different countries was, very limiting to the people, very daunting for a lot of people. I got to be vaxxed. I got to be this. I got to do this. I got to be tested. And it just kind of shut down, I think, evangelism or missions work to a great extent around the world. And so now to get back to it, we were very excited. And so just that whole process, and there's kind of the debate on with these short-term missions trips, and do they have value, and what kind of and just what kind of value they do add. And Pastor Luis, don't you? So I'm a proponent of small, or what do we call it, short-term missions trips. Does that benefit you as a missionary, as somebody out on the group? Does it really do anything for you guys?
Definitely. For once, it injects the missionary, because one of the things a missionary family goes through is just a lot of loneliness. And whenever you have when you have a team from home coming, it injects you again, like, okay, it renews your commitment. Why are you really here? Come on, let's go, wake up, stay focused. You're here doing an assignment. So on a personal level, it injects you with a lot of vision, a lot of passion for Christ, and then the other value behind it is that, the work we get to do together, you have that, that collaborative effort, right? We're doing something together. And so it helps the team itself out. I guess on a different level, it's, man, what you're doing in the region, what you're doing in the land itself, like, the stories we just mentioned, how many dreams we just have no idea how many dreams we can accomplish. God can use us to accomplish in people's life, and I think God gave a lot of grace to North America, to the United States. So whenever, anybody from the States comes anywhere in the world, people are just awed, that we will leave our riches or our comfort. And I think that's a picture of Christ, right? That Christ left behind his riches to reach us. And then the other thing I would think also is that, so I had another team that came in September, some brothers that came from Texas and Arkansas. And one of the guys that came is 27 years old, man, has a brilliant future in Arkansas as a news anchor, and just begin to feel bothered that hey, this guy's wasting his life. He's Christian, he loves God. He's a great musician. He's a great preacher. I just think he's wasting his life in the States. He needs to give his life to missions and to ministry. So I called him when he was on his way here. He said, "Hey man, you're gonna hate me for this, but I think God's just really gonna mess with you when you come down here. I just think God's gonna ruin you, man. God's gonna ruin your life. God's gonna ruin your life, and you're gonna get called to missions." And he just blew it off like, "Nah, you crazy. We're friends, of course. Man, you crazy. That's never gonna happen. I'm going to Argentina on vacation. I'm gonna disconnect from everything. I want you to take me to see all these places. I just want to disconnect." Sure enough, 10 days later, the guy's crying, weeping, and all. I said, "Man, I just can't believe it, man. God's calling me to Argentina. I love this people. I love this land." And so he went, and he went back home in September and prayed about it. I told him, "Look, don't make any decisions now. Pray and fast." But long story short, in October, he put in his resignation. And in January, he's applying to become a missionary to Argentina. So he's going to be working here with us. So does it have benefit? Man, yeah, you just don't know. You just don't know how much God wants to use our lives in the mission field,
Yeah. Well, that's my take on missions, short-term missions too. It's just, you can't measure exactly what God's going to do. So many times people want to just put the measurement on, we could just give them the money but there's just so many other things that take place. I think that's part of one of the stories is just, and it's kind of a generic thing, is just how many relationships were made, genuine relationships, people loving on people, regardless of race, regardless of region, regardless of, economic things, just people just connecting with people and praying for them and loving them and believing in them. So there was a lot of that happened. Every one of our teammates, they had stories of, well, I met this one woman, or I met this guy and we prayed and he was on, just all the encouragement that happens. Yeah. So that happened. And, the specifics are just so, I don't know if we want to get into the specifics. I will say one story in particular. There was a lady named Ruth, and she lived just a few blocks away from that piece of property. And I guess she had been coming to the church, and her prayer on the first night was that she was the only one serving the Lord in her family. And she said, "I just want my family to serve the Lord." And so, of course, I don't know who prayed with her, but somehow the story came to the team. So we prayed for her and prayed about her situation. And then the next day, Tuesday, I think it was, we were just doing evangelism. And we were going from house to house talking, and we saw Ruth, and we stopped over there. Met her parents. She lives with her parents. Ruth has a few kids, and and met them and greeted them, and then kind of we went down the street and circled back, and on the way back, Ruth's parents invited us in. Said, "Hey, would you come in?" And they had a couple of some drinks for us, and we just kind of sat around. And so there's about 8 or 9 of us on the team at that point. I think Pastor Alberto was there with us, and myself and a couple others, and we just started talking to her parents, and we asked them, "Why don't you go to church?" And she began to lay out this, this story of how the church she had been going to hurt her, and she would never go back to church. And, and Pastor Alberto just kind of listened to her, and then he just looked at her and said, "You need to get back to church. You need to get back to church." And then I was able to talk to her and say, "Hey, we'd love for you to come tonight, be our guest, come see us." And that night she came. That night she came. She rededicated her life. That was a great story. We were just excited. Here's part of the family coming back. The next day, which was Wednesday, I was walking around. I didn't have an interpreter with me. I was just kind of walking around, saying hola to people, the little como esta, the little English or Spanish I did know. And people were greeting people. And all of a sudden I see Ruth and her mom and two of her kids running. I say running, coming towards me quickly. And the mom had the boy, he's probably 7, maybe 8. And she was just, you could tell they were distraught. They were all crying, and she was pointing at her son. And you could tell, when I looked at the son, I could tell that his arm bent at an angle that's just not supposed to happen. And they were just speaking to me in Spanish, and I was saying, no habla español, and they had me, one of me had by the arm, and the other one had me by the shirt, and they were talking to me, and they were just going on, and I was like, okay, so I just scooped up the little boy, and I came back, and that's when we found you in the back and said, hey, Luis, help us here, what's going on? And the little boy on his way to church fell down and broke his arm. Wow. It was so tragic. But the pastor Veronica, the woman she said, look, I'll take him to the hospital. She jumped in the car, even though it's her night, her church, all those type of things. She said, I'll take him. She put him in the car that night, took him to the hospital. Come to find out, he broke both bones. He was going to need surgery, and we were just wondering, how is this going to affect the family? Because sometimes people interpret events not from a different perspective. Is this going to be a discouragement? Could they find any comfort in this? Do they see God at work? And so we didn't know how they would handle it. But the next day they came after the little boy had surgery, and they brought him to service on Thursday, which was the kids' event. And there he was in his cast, and he had the surgery. And one of the stories they told us is that before they sent him to the hospital is that we prayed for him. And so we all gathered around, just prayed that God would do something in his life, would heal him, whatever. And come to find out the next day that Ruth said that when they went to give him pain medication, after we prayed for him, because he was obviously in a lot of pain that night when he had first broke it, Ruth said, she told the doctors, she talked to the little boy, he said he feels no pain. And the next day after they had operated on his arm, where they asked him, we're going to give him some stuff for pain, and the mom kept saying, but he says he feels no pain, which is is an incredible thing. It's like, okay, maybe God kept that from them. I kind of was hoping God would just heal the bones. That'd have been great too. But God does what God does. But then to see that whole family there that night, to understand that there are people that loved them and cared for them, and that we loved them and cared for them and would help them kind of in any way we could. That's kind of what it's all about, right? Winning families back to Christ, seeing families restored and won back to the Lord. So that was probably one of the biggest stories over that. It was kind of a multiple day type of a thing that just kind of escalated and showed the power of God in the lives of some folks' lives.
That's really good, Pastor Ken. And they didn't miss a single night of church. They came every single night. And I believe one of her grandkids, one of Ruth's kids, got baptized also on the crusade. So it was just amazing. And they're still there. They're still there serving.
Praise God.
So
wow.
Yeah.
That's beautiful, man. So Luis, as we're wrapping it up, tell us about the future. What is your vision? What's going on with Argentina? We're down to the last few minutes, so give us some vision for the future.
Yeah, amen. Well, on this term, we believe God spoke to our hearts that in the next 4 years we're supposed to plant 10 churches. Oh, so we planted 1 already, so 9 more to go. Yeah. Of course, this is all stuff we can do in the natural, right? What we feel like we can do it in our ability. Yeah. But one of the pastors told me, man, we're gonna do much more than that. You have a team behind you, and there's so many more people that needs to be reached, and we're gonna do more than that. But in the natural, I think in the next 4 years we could still plant 9 churches, solid, healthy churches. So that's one area. I'll continue to plant. There's more roots out there that need Jesus. Amen. And then secondly, also just begin the process of raising leaders, man. Here's a lack of leadership, church leadership. We really don't have healthy leaders to point the way, and so at the beginning of March, begin to have these workshops for church planners that I just wanted to begin to grow in particular areas, their mental health, their spiritual health, their emotional health, their marriage life, family life, and so with the next church planners that we have, we want them to be, developed in that area. So in a nutshell, plant 9 more churches and begin a school of leadership for these new pastors.
Well, we're going to be praying. Journey's going to be praying for you and Lourdes and your sons. We're praying for the church plants that you've already established and the 10 or the 9 that yet to go. So we're going to pray for the new church plans. We're going to pray for a leadership development plan, and we're going to pray for God to do the supernatural, maybe exceedingly and abundantly above what you're even believing for, man. Just an outpouring, nationwide outpouring of the Spirit in Argentina, man. So we're just so proud of you and so grateful for your commitment to Jesus and for the lost and all that you're doing for the kingdom. We love you and we pray for you, and we are proud of you every day, man.
Thank you, Pastor Doug. I would say that I learned from the best, learned from you, Pastor Ken, the Journey team, just you guys really just model that life for me, man, that, it makes you, and inspires you to become, really, really followers of Jesus. So kudos to you guys and for showing the way till this day.
Amen. Pastor Ken's busy planning for 2023 for our Go trips. So is Argentina on the maybe list? Or
yeah. Just about everybody that came this time wants to go back. So
wow. So we may be coming back down again next year, man. Yeah.
Come on down here, man.
Yeah.
Try to come with a little bit more time so we can have a day to party, man, or sightsee.
And maybe take them fishing at the dam. Yeah.
I don't think I'll do that one.
I was almost a casualty of the fishing trip to the dam, man. It was rough. Yeah.
I think Pastor Doug threw up the whole way, man.
Yeah, I was sick the whole time. Yeah, but it was still, man, a great trip, man, to be with you and be with Lourdes and your boys. So when your boys were both still home, now they're grown men. So what a great thing, man, to see what God's doing in your family and your marriage and your cute little dog Coco.
Coco, he's around here somewhere.
Yeah. Anything you want to close out with? Any story you want to tell, or any final words?
No. Obviously, we just appreciate Lourdes and Luis, and obviously David. He really stepped up, did a lot of great things. It's just a great time. I mean, and if people know people in ministry, especially in missions, just like Luis said, you leave everything. You go away from family, friends, living in different cultures, different countries, and just the amount of support they need is tremendous. And so reach out to them, love on them, bless them. In this day and age, it used to be you had to write handwritten letters. Now we can text, we can Zoom, you can do so many different things, FaceTime, through the WhatsApp, so many different apps that you can take now and just stay in contact. But to keep encouraging one another. That's right. The scripture tells us, encourage one another in the Lord. And so just to be that constant encouragement, I think is just so important.
Yeah,
Pastor Luis, thank you so much. Go ahead. What do you want to say? Close it out.
I was just going to say, wrapping up what Pastor Ken was saying, just thank you guys. Thanks for coming, and thanks for being missions minded, and to love the Great Commission. And I was going to be a little selfish when you guys first came, because it was like 1 or 2 days. I just wanted them for ourselves. It was just seeing my Journey family. It was just like, truly, it was an oasis, man, to us. Yeah. So just thank you guys. Thanks for coming and leaving everything behind. But thank you, Pastor, for the invitation today and for the privilege of being with you, learning from you. Always learning from you, Pastor, and always trying to be like you. So thank you so much for leading the way for us, man.
And it's an honor to be with you, and thank you for making time for us in your busy schedule. And we want you to know, man, you're in our prayers and thoughts every day. You and Lourdes and your boys, we pray for you every day. And we're just so excited about the future, about coming back down there now that we can freely travel again. We do, as you know very well, we do Go trips. We've been to about 25 different countries, most of them multiple times. So we have a couple of 100 mission trips under our belt, and we just love the Great Commission. And we feel like the Go trips, like you and Pastor Kim was saying just now, those Go trips do 3 things in our belief. First, it fulfills the Great Commission, the most important thing. Second, it encourages the missionaries and their families. And third, it transforms all of the team members who go on these trips. They come back forever changed by the power of God. So we love those, and we'll be planning to return down to Argentina to see you. And when will your term be? When will you guys come back to the U.S.? 4 or 5 years from now, maybe?
That's a great question that I want to wrap up with a stinger.
Okay, go ahead.
Our term ends in June 2026.
Okay.
And if Jesus tarries, that will be the next World Cup that will be played in the United States.
Whoa! There you go. What city is going to host the World Cup?
It's actually Mexico and U.S.
Mexico, Canada, United States. But I think they're going to rule Mexico out.
It's a North America.
So it's going to be Canada and the United States. Yeah.
Wow, man. So you'll be.
Hopefully we come as champions, as world champions.
Man. The reigning world champions, bro. Yeah. Well, we count down the days to see your face again, and maybe we'll get to come visit you sooner. But we love you so much, and can't wait to see you again. And thanks for joining us today, man, on our stories. So thank you. All of you who are watching today. You've been with us as we visited with Pastor Luis Padilla, who is in Argentina. Pastor Ken was down there with the Journey team just a few weeks ago, and we'll be planning another one for the next calendar year. But you can find out much more about our Go Trips. We'll be doing a podcast real soon. The whole thing dedicated to our 2023 Go Trips. We have about a half a dozen nations on our list, our prayer list. So we'll probably pick 2 or 3 of those nations, and I think one of them is going to be Argentina. But if you're a Journey attender or a member and want to go with us, stay tuned for more details. You can plan ahead. We'll be announcing those in January, what our prayer plans are for our Go Trips. Also, if you haven't downloaded our Journey app, do that right now. Go to your app store, type in Journey Fellowship Church in the search bar, download the Journey app. It is packed full of resources to help you in your journey of faith. A great way to get connected, find a small group, watch past sermons, watch some of the stories, podcasts from days gone by. Lots of good faith-building resources. Also at jf.church, our web address, you can find also driving directions. If you live on the North Shore or New Orleans and want to visit and worship with us in person, you can find service times, driving directions, kind of get set up to visit us on Sunday, jf.church. So on behalf of Pastor Luis Padilla and Pastor Ken, I'm Doug McAllister for Journey Fellowship Church. You've been watching Stories I Didn't Tell Last Sunday. Thanks for joining us today, and we look forward to seeing you next time.